Hi everyone, how are we doing today? So this week we're going to be learning about our conclusion writing. So we have talked about almost every single part of our story except for the conclusion. Now the conclusion is the ending to our story. And we don't want to just end our story on a bad note because we've spent so much time writing a wonderful narrative story. So, in this presentation, you will learn how to write a well-rounded conclusion to your story. So let's begin. Narrative writing. In narrative stories, the main character usually has experienced something significant. So when we're looking at this picture beside us, not Dora the Explorer, oh my goodness, Finding Nemo, Nemo's dad goes through this huge transformation, right? Because he starts off as kind of this crotchety old man who's angry at everything, but then through meeting Dory and the experience of him finding his son, he has done and experienced something really significant, something really important. So in your narrative story, usually the main character has solved a problem, had an adventure, or shared a meaningful experience. And that is something that our father here of Nemo does in the movie. As a result of this, the main character changes in some way, not on some way, in some way. They might have learned a lesson, they make decisions, they form their own opinion, or they hope for something similar or something different to happen to them in the future, right? So here in Finding Nemo, we see that his father eventually realizes that he needs to let go of Nemo. He needs to give him a chance to live and try experiences on his own. So when writing a story ending, you need to think about how your main character has grown or changed as a result of the main event in the story. So how have they changed because of the events that you have put them through? So we're thinking about our suspense writing, we think about the main problem of our story, as well as the ways that they try to fix it, the attempts that they take to fix it. How has this all changed them? Has the main character become better? Have they become a nicer person? Have they become a wiser or smarter person? That's up to you. Okay? The do nots to writing an ending. So these are the things that we definitely don't want in an ending. You have just spent all of this time creating your setting, building your suspense, introducing your main problem, attempting to solve your problem, and we don't want your story to end abruptly. So it says an ending that ends abruptly. In case you don't know what that word means, abruptly means something that happens quickly, right? So if you look down here at this sign, all of a sudden the wall abruptly stops and it's water. So abruptly means that something without warning, it just ends, right? Have you ever watched a movie before that you're really, really into, and then you've had this really super cool, awesome teacher come in and say, oh, that was the bell, time to turn it off. It just turns off the movie, and you don't know what happens? Oh, yeah, so abruptly means that it happens quickly and it ends without warning, okay? So we do not want to write a conclusion that ends abruptly, that ends without warning. So here's an example. So I went home and went to bed. This is not satisfying for the reader. My goodness, guys, this is a really, really boring ending, okay? I know that you can do a lot better than that. Another example would be, suddenly I woke up, it was just a dream. Oh, yucky, 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 yucky. You guys know my feeling and Miss Fong's feelings on this type of ending, and to be honest, it sucks. So we can do better than that. This kind of ending is frustrating for the reader because the reader has invested energy into the story. And to discover that nothing happened, that is so disappointing, okay? So please don't. Please don't say that it was all a dream, because really, it's kind of just a really lame way to finish a wonderful story that you have plotted out. We call this pulling the rug from under the reader, because it just happens so suddenly that you're like, what? Why? Okay? A story that rambles on way past the conclusion because the author is uncertain about how to bring closure to it. The next day, after that, and then this happened. Oh my gosh. Boring. This is literally Miss Krieger when I have to read stories like that, okay? This is probably you if you were trying to write a story like that. So what we really want to focus on is being very clear and concise in our endings, okay? We really want to make sure that we are getting to the point, we are ending our story, and that's when the story ends. There's no going further than that. The words "the end" are not necessary when the story has a natural natural feeling of closure. Okay, so that means that if your story is just naturally about to end, then you don't need to write the end. Okay, I think we can, as an audience, as a reader, you can kind of figure that out. So how do we create a satisfying feeling of closure? Well, let's find out. Creating a satisfying ending using these 5 techniques, you can create a captivating ending to your story. A memory, a feeling, a decision, a wish or a hope, and a defining moment. A memory. A memory may come in the form of have your main character remember the main event. So as you're writing your conclusion, make sure that at the very end of where your conclusion is, your main character looks back fondly or has some kind of emotional response to the main event or your main problem, okay? A feeling. Show how the main character felt about what happened in the story. So maybe you're going to end your story with him feeling really happy about how this all went. Maybe he's angry. Maybe he's feeling upset, okay? Really describe those feelings. A decision. Include a decision made by the main character as a result of the main event or story problem, okay? So you could say, for example, the main problem was that you climbed up a really high mountain. It took you 3 attempts to finally get down. So in conclusion, a decision that your main character has made is that they are never, ever, ever going to go hiking again. A wish or a hope. As a result of the main event, the main character thinks ahead and makes a wish or a hope for the future. So a lot of us, and this isn't just within stories, maybe the main problem was you have this big test. Your character has this big test and they didn't study for it. And so maybe in the conclusion, that's when they say, I wish I had studied more for this test, or I wish I had taken more steps to do better on this test, okay? So a wish or a hope is something that your main character is going to think about and how, like, as a dialogue for the future to come. Now that all of these events have happened to me, what do I wish for in the future? A defining moment. As a result of the main event, the main character does something that reflects a decision or a feeling. So in this picture, this is a picture of a lady who climbed the summit of Mount Everest. So if this was kind of a story, you could say that this was kind of a defining moment for her, right? She decided that maybe one day she woke up and she said, I'm going to climb Mount Everest, and then her getting to the summit of Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, well, that would be a really big defining moment. Okay? So let's just go back. We've got a memory, a feeling, a decision, a wish or a hope, or a defining moment. These 5 types of strategies or techniques, you could say, are ways that you can end your story. Do you have to use all 5 of them in the ending, in your conclusion? No. Choose one, and that's the one that you end with, okay? Here are some questions that you can ask to help you write these types of endings. So for a memory, what do you remember the most? A feeling, how do you feel about everything that happened? A decision, what did you decide to do after everything that happened? A wish, what did you wish or hope for? And a defining action, what did you do to show how you felt or what you decided? Okay, so if you think about, because we use Little Red Riding Hood as our example in kind of through our story arc, if you think about the conclusion of Little Red Riding Hood, she gets eaten by the wolf, she gets saved by the huntsman, and her grandmother are safe. What ending type out of these 5 do you think that the author used in the story? Well, I would probably say a wish or a hope, right? So she knows, it's like a lesson that she's learned. She knows that next time she goes to visit grandma, well, she is definitely not going to stray from the path, right? Or a defining action. What do you do to show how you felt or what you decided, okay? Is she happy and relieved that she has been saved? Of course. So I want you to think about a story that you know really, really well. It could be as simple as Little Red Riding Hood, or maybe as simple as the 3 pigs and the wolf that blew down their houses, or maybe a novel that you're reading right now. And I want you to think about how the author is going to end the story, or how the author ended the story. Which one of these 5 did the author use? Now, sometimes it might be a combination of the 2. Sometimes it might not be a combination of a few. But I'm not asking you, I should say, to do all 5 for one ending. Okay? So now head back to D2L and look at the assignment I have given you. Have a great day, guys, and I miss you all a lot.